Hello, Coach Dad here, and welcome to another chess video tutorial. And today we're going to continue with practicing how to break into a king's defenses, or what we call breaking down the castle. Now, what we have learned in the previous video is that sometimes when the king is too guarded and they don't have any places to move and there's just ways to get the king out into hostile territory, we can take advantage of those opportunities. If you did miss our last video, feel free to click the video link down below and you'll be able to click and learn everything that we have learned, and then continue on with this video after you have learned those lessons. Now, I'm going to invite you to open up your chessboard in front of you and you'll be able to set up your board just like I have done here in this screen. Anytime you see the numbers in the top right hand side, you'll be able to pause that and try to solve the puzzles for yourself. We want to try to increase pattern recognition so that way it could translate into your very own chess game. Now, everything that we've learned to do, you have to really understand those concepts so that way we could try to bring it into our chess games. In this example right here, we see that black is nice and quote-unquote defended and snug all the way in this corner right here. Do you see white's next best move? If you said queen to h7, you are correct. Queen takes h7, it looks like a quote-unquote crazy move where the queen is sacrificing herself in order to break open the king's position, breaking down the door. Now, black's only move right now is to be able to take this queen, and can only take this queen with the king right here. And of course, white's next best move is moving the rook to h3, checking the king all the way down at this line. This king has nowhere to go. Unfortunately, this king cannot run to this square because this knight is guarding this square on g6. So therefore, there's no other pieces that'll be able to block this check, nowhere for the king to run. And this is one of the great examples of breaking down the castle and then getting the checkmate. In this practice example, we see that black is knocking on the door of white's castle, and only a checkmate could potentially happen in the future, but it seems like white is well guarded and well defended in this position. If you said queen takes g3, you are correct. There's no way for this rook to be able to capture this queen right now because it's pinned down by this rook attacking this king. Now, the only next best move that white can do is, of course, take the quote-unquote free queen that's on the board. And black is going to play another devastating move, which is going to be bishop to h4. And now this has been called a checkmate. In this position right now, this bishop is now covering this diagonal. This pawn is covering these two squares, as well as being guarded by this pawn. And this bishop is guarded by both of these rooks, while these rooks are covering all these squares. This brings our lesson to learning more about breaking down the castle, with the queen offered herself up for the sacrifice on g3, allowing other pieces to come in and finish up the mission. For this example, we have white knocking on the door of black right here, and white is down a pawn. A quiet move is not going to help white in this situation. I'm going to give you a fair warning right now. This is a very tough one to see because there's a lot of sequence of moves that needs to take place in order for things to happen here. Can you find the next best move for white? As I mentioned before, a quiet move is not going to be helpful for white right here. White has to be able to break through these defenses right here of these two pawns and these two bishops in order to potentially checkmate this king. The correct move for white in this situation is rook takes f6. And black is going to respond with pawn takes f6 right here. And then white is going to reposition the queen right here, being able to open up for a discovered check in the future. It doesn't matter which move black plays right now. In this situation, black he can choose to either take this knight right here, but he wants to keep this rook out of the attacking zone. So he plays f5 in an attempt to attack the queen, but also keep this rook out of check. Now white plays next a really great discover check of knight to e7, double checking the king. Now this queen is not under attack by this pawn because black is under a double check right now. Black has to respond. The only way to respond to a double check is by moving the king. Black responds with moving the king over here, and then white plays a really another great move here at rook takes f5. And of course, black responds with bishop takes f5. Now we play white plays take f5. And this is what's going to happen is once this pawn trades back for its knight right here, we're going to be able to take this piece right here on f5 and creating this check. As you can see, we traded off a lot of those pieces in order to break open this king's defense, but at the end game we are going for the king. It doesn't matter how many pieces you have left. If you're able to checkmate your opponent first, that's the winning move right there. It doesn't matter which way the king decides to go over here to g7 or even e7. Let's see what happens if we go to e7. If we go over here to e7, the queen can come up here being guarded by the knight. Now the king runs away over here, and then next we have queen checkmates here on d7, where the pawn is able to protect all these squares, and of course the queen is being guarded by the knight and covering all the running away squares. Now if the king decides to go to g7 in this case, what white can do is come here and attack this king, being again guarded by the knight, and then black can just either run away to this corner or even this side right here. And let's say if it just runs away, it could just simply play knight to f7 for a checkmate. This is a great example of showing what a double check looks like and how white was able to make such a great surprising sacrifices in order to open this position, open up this defended position really well, but ensuring that there's going to be checkmate at the end, ensuring that the queen itself and other pieces can come in for a checkmate of the king. You need to ensure that you have a good follow through, or else if not, if you mess up and play a slow, quiet move, guess what? Black is up with so many pieces and can eventually check your vulnerable king down here as well. You want to keep up that tempo and ensure that you can get that checkmate. I really hope that you enjoyed those examples, and I hope that you're able to just practice along and continue taking these concepts to your chess games. We know that these examples can get a little bit tougher and tougher, but as we continue to keep learning and finding ways to break down our opponent's castle and defenses, we're going to find ways to find those opportunities in our games as well. I appreciate you very much for staying for this entire video. I hope this video was very useful and helpful for you. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until next time, good luck on your chess, and I'll see you again. Thank you very much and have a great day.